tonight. I'm Dr. Hatch. I actually live in Surprise, Arizona. We're excited. We actually have an amazing presentation or continuation of a presentation from Eileen. So we're looking forward to her finishing this. And like she said, after we're done here, we will be jumping off the recording and actually talking and just chatting about questions and answers. So that's a great thing. So Eileen's amazing. I actually met her 5 years ago when I joined LifeVantage. And it's been an amazing journey watching her not only become a brand new person with this physically, but also a brand new person in her business aspect of things. So I've learned a lot from Eileen. She's always helping me and showing me things to do, especially when it comes to social media. So we're excited to listen to what you have to say tonight. So I'll turn it over to you and we'll go from there.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hatch. So good evening, everyone. I'm Eileen Whipple. I'm here in Gilbert, Arizona. And this is a continuation of last week of brain health. Last week was more of what was happening in the brain, but we had a lot of questions about the traumatic brain injury part. So tonight, this section of it will be a focus of what a traumatic brain injury is and what results come from that. I think a lot of us don't realize we're going through life and we've had knocks and bruises and we don't know how much that's really affecting our lives. So we're gonna have two people share their experiences. And along with me, I'm going to share my daughter's full experience that I wasn't able to share last week. And we're going to try to keep it tight to 10 minutes so that we can get the information out, and then we'll talk afterwards with the question and answer period. So tonight, I want to first introduce my friend Soraya. I met Soraya also through this journey, and we are all companion or business partners, I'm going to say it that way, in LifeVantage, because these products have brought us together, but we're not here to share those, sell you any of those products tonight. We're just here to share information and what happens in the body, and that's where we're going to share what's going on with each one of us. So Soraya, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Eileen. I actually was really excited when Eileen asked me to share my experience. Ever since, I've had 3 brain injuries. 2 were sustained by car accidents, one being a rollover 5 times on the freeway going 85, and another one was sustained by a drunk, I was hit by a drunk driver, paralyzed, brain injury. I mean, I was pretty messed up. I had to learn to walk again and so forth. And then I'd sustained a 3rd injury from a fall, head injury from a fall. So I didn't even know about head injuries. I was on my own, I lived on my own, I was single. And so it was more of a survival. But I will tell you later on, as I started educating myself on what a brain injury is, I started noticing all the different things that were changed in my life, what I used to be able to do compared to what I couldn't do anymore. I had mood swings. I mean, I would literally take and destroy an office, throw things on off the desk. I would just destroy things. And I could see that I was doing it, but I couldn't, it was like I couldn't stop. It was like, I always like to describe it as I felt like I was living in a glass box, and I could see my former life, but I could never get to my former life. It's like it was just right in hand's reach, but I never could do it. And I never could understand what was wrong with me. I always asked myself, what is wrong with me? Why can't I function? Another thing that I found that was happening is when I was having conversations with people, mid-sentence, I would stop. I couldn't tell you what the conversation was about. I couldn't tell you what nothing. It was completely like I had a clean slate. Nothing was in my head at all. And I literally had to apologize and say, I'm really sorry. I don't even know what we were talking about. So then that caused me to go inward and be afraid. And I struggled. I was very cautious of the conversations I would hold with people. And I made them very short, or I became where I came into myself more, because I felt stupid. I felt, and it's one of those brain injuries I look at as an injury that people don't see. because people have told me so many times, Soraya, you would never know that you have a brain injury, let alone 3 brain injuries. And because I worked so hard at it, but it's real. And I've made it my mission to kind of educate people, give them understanding that this is real and people go through this. And I've learned I'm not the only one that feels like they're alone or that's struggling with this. If it was as simple as changing my diet, great, I already did that. I am a very, very healthy person. One, because I had to become that to function and to give my brain the best nutrients as possible. But we're still talking about a brain injury. We're still talking about lesions on the brain, forgetting things. Focus was horrible. And so it's been a real struggle on my end. But through different experiences in my life and things that I've been through, I've been able to work through that. And I don't know, do you want me to just stop there, right? Just my experience, right? Yeah, it was rough.
Thank you. All right, and next we're going to have Florence share her story and what she was as a young mom who had a traumatic brain injury. So go ahead, Florence. Oh, you're muted still.
I noticed. I do apologize. Thank you, Eileen and Dr. Holt, for having me tell my story. And Soraya, I can understand completely what you're saying. As Eileen mentioned, I'm Florence. I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico. My background is over 20 years in the corporate world in sales and marketing. And the sunshine of my life are my 3 young adults today. That was not the way I felt for 13 years because I fell off a spiral staircase at the height of 6 feet. My head hit the floor and I was 13 days in intensive care and 40 days in a dark room to all of a sudden learn that I have permanent damage in my frontal lobes, cognitive system. I had severe cases of epilepsy. I had seizures. I would have panic attacks, restless leg syndrome. I would have memory loss. I could not complete a task. And I had lost all my senses. And then the hype was that I would never recover the sense of smell, so I would have no taste. I could go on and on in different conditions, but there's one that it really resonates with what Soraya was saying. When you would be told you have to learn to live with all these conditions. So I would find myself at home with 3 young kids that I would be yelling at them just for simple things because I was so irritable, as shutting down a kitchen cabinet. I could not cook a meal because either it was too spicy, too salty, because I had no sense of taste. I could not complete a simple task as going and picking them up in school because I would get lost on the way. And I can still remember the look in their eyes every single morning when I used to take 8 meds a day. That look in their eyes like, where is my mother? What happened to her? Is this really our future life? That look of uncertainty was totally devastating. So there was no future for me. I couldn't even manage my life, and I used to manage teams of 20 people in the corporate world. How was I going to be able to manage their life? So I felt hopeless, broken, totally lost, because there was no future in regards to medicines that could help me until there was a day, because there's always hope inside of us. I get a call from my brother-in-law. He's a surgeon specializing in breast cancer. And he says, Flo, you know, I would like to tell you about something that is totally new and has to do with that is going to help you. And to my surprise, I started seeing a recovery And I know that we will pursue talking about that later. But the way that I felt that there was no future and nothing could help me available in regards to having a future with my kids, that is possible today. And I think that I should stop there, Eileen, and then, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what we want to share with you guys, the basic thing is, and some of you may not have those huge experiences that you can relate straight to a traumatic brain injury, but it can be falling off of your bike. It can be just banging your head. I know that my daughter fell off the swing once, and she, of course, conked her head. There's just little things, but there's things in our behavior, and then our behaviors affect our relationships, and they affect our success in business and in life and relationships for our lives. And that was my turnaround with my daughter when she had a change of personality, and it was slight. And this happened to her when she was a 16-year-old. And my husband and I are like, oh, it's just must be the teenage years. She was our oldest daughter. She had never rebelled. And all of a sudden she started doing these risky behaviors, and she started being defiant, which was so unlike her. But the cool thing is, which you can hear from Soraya and from Florence, that even though they had been in those conditions for so many years, that there was still hope for them to turn their lives around. And that's what's so exciting. So I just wanted to show you a couple of things real fast. This is a brain scan, and it shows you a healthy brain right here. You can see how pretty uniform it is. The colors are there just for effect for you to read it. So this is my daughter's brain, and I want to show you this. Can you see the deep crevices? And then there's this at the top, you see that indent? That's from the traumatic brain injury, and that's the frontal lobe where you do your decision making, and that's not even fully developed till you're 26. So imagine all the little head falls that we've done as children, and we just don't know the effects they're doing for us. So you may find your irritability and your behaviors being this way, like they had described. They're not part of your personality. They're just a symptom of something that's going on bigger. So I'm going to end with this. When I took, as you know from the previous video, I took my family to Dr. Amen. Some things that he recommended, I'm reading this out of his book that he gave us when we went. He suggests theanine, fish oils, multi-mineral, exercise, train your brain, psychotherapy, and sleep strategies to help that brain to heal, and self-relaxation. And de-stress your brain. We hear about stress all the time, don't we? But anyway, that's what we wanted to share tonight. And then just get your questions answered about traumatic brain injuries. And whether you have one or not, there are things that you can do to help your brain to be optimal. And that's what we want to share tonight, is that hope and a system for you to be able to help yourself. So thank you for joining us. And Dr. Hatch, I'll turn it back to you for closing out, and then I'll stop the recording.
You know, guys, it's kind of crazy when we think about brain injury, right? When it occurs and different things. The reason I got involved in this company was because of my daughter, okay? Or in looking at things. I actually have worked with people with traumatic brain injuries for a long, long time. I help a lot of people, but not to the extent I couldn't help my own daughter. So one of the things that happened, she was 17, she was pulling C's and D's, she had an IEP teacher, she's having some real struggles, okay? So what ended up happening, I started working with her as much as I could. We couldn't help her. I was frustrated, and answers came along, and we'll talk about those in a little while. But I'm grateful for the opportunity we have, because in the medical field, we think we have a lot of answers. And you think about the technology we have today and all the information and systems we have, and we still don't have answers to help people with traumatic brain injuries. We just say, hey, learn to live with it. That's not what we want, you know? What we're trying to do is help people realize that there's some different answers out there. There's some people who are really looking for answers. I had a young mother come in the other day really frustrated with the fact that she doesn't know what to do with her son who has some traumatic brain injury from a bicycle accident. So, you know, what a great opportunity we have to be able to maybe give some options to some people as we go through this adventure that we're on. So guys, thanks for joining us. We're going to actually jump off this recording and just sit down and enjoy. So there's a lot of neat things we can talk about. Okay.